Johnny Murray here, and welcome to a brand new video. So today, I'm going to be giving you my thoughts and impressions on Dynasty Warriors Origins. Now, this game just came out like 3 days ago when you're seeing this, I believe. And I've put about 5 to 6 hours into it. Now, if you're wondering why I'm even doing a video covering it, is just because that's how I'm doing it in 2025. If you missed my channel update, which I'm sure a lot of you who clicked on this video probably have, basically, I said that in my reviews, I'm not always able to finish a game like immediately, or I'm not always able to finish a game even within the first week or month sometimes. But I usually end up finishing a game eventually. But one thing I wanted to do this year is I want to at least give my thoughts and impressions of where I'm at in the game within the first week of a game releasing. Like, if I don't do a video covering my thoughts or review in the first week, then it's just not going to happen, because at that point, it's irrelevant. Y'all have already made a decision if you're going to buy it or not. But if I don't finish a game, or I haven't played enough, I'll do what I'm doing right now, a thoughts and impressions video, because I've only played about 6 hours of the game. And then eventually, when I do finish it, I'll give my final review as well. It'll kind of be reiterating a lot of my thoughts and impressions, unless things change, which I'm sure it will, because that's just how games work. The second half can be so much different than the first half, but nonetheless, that's how things are working. But we're going to be talking about Dynasty Warriors Origins, giving my thoughts and impressions after about 6 hours of playing. And yeah, if you guys love video games, doesn't matter what you love, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, third-party, PC, indie, mobile, whatever it may be, consider subscribing, sharing with your friends. We cover video games daily on this channel, and I appreciate all the support you guys give me, especially the support on this video right here. But without further ado, let's get talking about Dynasty Warriors Origins, the first new game of 2025, which this year is looking incredible. One of the best years in gaming ever. I will say January has been a little bit of a dry month compared to the past few years, but just wait. February kicks it into ultra gear. February goes crazy. Like, February is going to be like prime time, man. But anyway, Dynasty Warriors Origins, man. Where do I even start with this game? Because this is one of those games where, was I super excited for it? No. But, being the what I consider gamer that I am, I love just trying new things, playing a game, even if I'm just a bit interested in it, even if I don't know what I'm playing or why I'm playing. Sometimes I just like pulling the trigger and just going for it, going in with an open mind, really no expectations, and just playing a video game. Can't you believe it? It's that hard sometimes for people to just play a video game. It's that hard sometimes. Unbelievable. But that's what I decided to do with Dynasty Warriors Origins. I decided, you know what? Looks cool. Looks interesting. It might be something I like. I'll give it a try. Why not? This game is awesome. This game is awesome, dude. This is definitely a game that has exceeded my expectations. Now, I'm just gonna cut the chase. Like, I'm nowhere near like a 10 out of 10 or like maybe even a 9 out of 10, honestly. But like, this game is pure fun. This game is pure fun. But then also, there's a lot of great qualities about it too that we're gonna talk about. Also, in these thoughts and impressions, I'm not going to give a score at all either. That'll be for my final review, so that'll be a little bit of a difference. But the first thing we're going to talk about is obviously its gameplay. I mean, Dynasty Warriors, now, this whole franchise is based around insane combat with hundreds of enemies on screen. And I guess let me go ahead and run down my history with Dynasty Warriors. I've played like one game. Maybe, I think it was on either the 360 or the Xbox One. It was a Dynasty Warriors game a while back. And I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool. It was definitely not a game I really wasn't into. But, like, I always had, like, respect for the franchise because I knew there were so many. I knew it was there was a fan base for it. And I knew it was very historic and had years and years of history behind it. But when they announced this new Dynasty Warriors games, I'm like, man, I remember playing, like, a Dynasty Warriors game in the past, just hitting hundreds of enemies at one time, and it's so fun. It's super interesting. But it was just never something I thought, I would really get into, in a way. But, yeah, so coming into Origins, I kind of just expected to have fun, really. And while I can say that my expectations have definitely been met. My expectations have definitely been exceeded, because I don't think this is just a game where the only purpose is to just have fun. I think there was a lot of great things about this game, but we're gonna talk about the gameplay itself first. And I mean, this game is high octane. This game is fast paced. This game is grand in scale. This game is flashy. This game is beautiful at times. I think that this game is just such a joy to play. I think this game is such a joy to play because, number one, this is one of the only games of its kind where, and I kid you not, there are hundreds of enemies on screen at times. And it's so cool rushing down a battlefield with your army behind you, sometimes in front of you, sometimes to your side, and clashing with the enemy army, also rushing down the battlefield, and you start seeing bodies flying, and then you jump off your horse and you do one big swipe and you see 50 enemies go flying, and then you see arrows come flying down, you see catapults going crazy, you see these bosses using these really cool moves everywhere, and then you get your ultimate, and then you get like 100 KOs at one time, and this big old 100 symbol like flashes on screen, makes these super satisfying sound. This game is awesome. this game is awesome. Like, it genuinely is like a dopamine rush, kind of, in a way. Like, it's not made to be the most emotional thing in the world, even though there is some of that, and we'll get to that. It's not meant to be the most innovative technical leap video games I've seen. It is meant to just be super duper fun and addictive, and that is absolutely what it is. I mean, just talking about the combat, you get a bunch of different meters, you get a bunch of different like layers on top of, like, you know, how you get better abilities or how you do more damage during actual battles. You have multiple meters, like I said. But then also you have like a full ability wheel where you can use multiple abilities. There are multiple weapons. I've only unlocked 4 out of, I think, I want to say like 10 weapons, and each weapon has felt like there's so much more to it than I've already reached. Like there is a whole level up a skill tree for each weapon, which I think is really, really cool. And some of these weapons are really interesting too. It's not just your simple, sword, axe, spear, which granted there are those, but there's also things like gauntlets where you just forget weapons. You're just gonna be punching everybody, and I love that. I think it's so cool to just have a little bit of fun with it. And I think it's just so fun. There is a horse, so you know when you're traveling the battlefield, it does go faster. And I think just the whole battles are interesting with the enemy team and your team planning out. You know, when you click on a mission, you go to this like round table and talk with your army, like, what are our plans? How are we gonna defeat them? And it shows you a map of where every enemy's located, and you like kind of get your routes, and you have to plan like which group of your allies will go in this direction and stuff. I think it's just so cool. It captures the feeling of war very very, very well, and I love that, because I personally do love like war games like that and stuff, where it is army versus armies and stuff like that. And so I think the gameplay is genuinely top notch. Like there's I really don't have any complaint other than the control mapping. Sometimes, like, there are some really weird mapping for some buttons, like the left joystick, like what in most games you would click down to sprint, it enlarges the map, and which is really annoying at times. And then yeah, there's just some really weird button control inputs, but for the most part it doesn't like ruin it at any point. It's just kind of like an inconvenience, like, I wish I could change that type thing. But there's other pieces of this game too that I think are really good. And one of them is I think this game has a lot to progress. There is a lot of progression. Like I said, there's multiple skill trees. You are leveling up multiple things at once. There is shops. There is a lot of exploration when it comes to the map. There's a lot of side quests. There's a lot of challenges that you can do throughout. There are a lot of different characters that I've met. I'm only like halfway through the second chapter. And I've met so many characters. It's unbelievable. And yeah, I think there is just a lot of progression in this game. Like, you never feel like you're just doing the same thing again. You always feel like you're unlocking something new. You're doing something new. You're going places. And I have to credit it for that, because it just makes it where you want to keep playing. Whereas I feel like there are games like this where it's like, okay, the gameplay is really fun. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like, I know this game is amazing. I'm not downing it, but like, to give an example, Helldivers 2 is that. It's okay, this gameplay is fun, but you're just gonna load into the same game over and over and over again. Whereas this one, it changes it up every time. Just the way that these battles happen changes it up every time. Also, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, from the very first battle to the end of chapter 1 is like a 10 times difference in map size. Like, it's actually unbelievable. And then what I will say about the story is I'm not like the biggest fan of the story in terms of like what the plot is. You're pretty much like the chosen one kind of type thing. You are called a guardian of peace. And you are like one of the only ones that survived like a massacre or something like that. And that's basically why you are so powerful type stuff. But there is no like true like interesting unique plot that I've seen so far. It really is just you are the chosen one. You're gonna meet a lot of allies along the way, which I do think some of the allies are pretty fun, pretty unique, pretty interesting. But for the most part, the story isn't really doing much for me. However, I will say there are scenes where because some of these characters are interesting, they do try and do some emotional things with it. And there have been some moments where I'm like, oh man, like I feel for that guy, or that was a good moment. But then also, this game is visually pretty good. There are moments where I'm like, man, that is a great shot, or man, I love the look of this area. But it's not happening all the time, because I do think one flaw of this is it does kind of feel dated. This game does kind of feel dated in a sense of the way dialogue happens, or the way you make choices with the RPG mechanics in this game. Kind of just very one-dimensional. You kind of just watch your character sit there or stand still, and their mouth just moves to an unsynced lip animation. And then with most dialogue options, you only get like 2. They don't really do much. You just kind of get like a different response from a character. So, I do think that in terms of like, is this going to be a great story? Is this going to be a game that moves me? No. And generally, are we really going into a Dynasty Warriors game with that expectation? Literally, the whole name of the game is fighting. Like, that is the whole point of the game, is fighting in these giant wars. And it absolutely accomplishes that. I don't think this game is extraordinary. I don't think this game is like, going to be one of the best games you'll play this year. But my goodness, will it be one of the most fun games you play this year? 100%. And sometimes that's all you need in a game, is just to have some mindless, awesome fun. And I think this game is absolutely accomplishing that. Also, one other thing. The OST is going crazy. In the very opening mission, the whole prologue, when you first start fighting, there is this rock metal song that starts playing, and this guitar riff just goes crazy when you're rushing towards all these enemies. Absolutely fire. Absolutely loved it. There is a lot to like here. There is some stuff that is kind of just whatever, but I think that's what you get out of a game like this. But I have to say, Koei Tecmo has knocked out the park bringing this franchise back, because from what I've heard, the past couple entries haven't really been all that. And I feel like this one has definitely steered it in the right direction. Because from somebody who kind of just thought the one I played was fun, but nothing else, this one has definitely exceeded a lot of my expectations. And I do think this is a solid game. So I would definitely recommend it. But that's going to do it for my thoughts and impressions on Dynasty Warriors Origins so far. I can't wait to play more of it. And when I do beat it, I will do my final review. But thank you also for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Johnny Moore out. Peace.